is transforming research into impact for IP collaborations and commercialization. So what I found from your website, this is the innovation landscape of the Tamil Nadu Research Foundation Park. And I could very well say that you have got a diverse innovation portfolio. That is from artificial intelligence and biotechnology to clean energy, electric mobility, electric mobility and digital health, advanced manufacturing. So these collaborative projects represent significant opportunity for intellectual property generation and technology transfer and commercialization. So I appreciate that you have a very diverse portfolio in various fields and technology. So if your project succeeds technically, so what should happen next? So you want to take your research you will be taking your research forward. You need an IP strategy or the industry partnership, how it has to go, and till commercialization. So what can be the steps? How can I take from what I already have? Actually, I don't have an idea at what TRL level each of these technologies are. Are they in the initial stage, or it's already into some other like the next level it has come?
So it's in a mixed level. So
okay.
Some of them are in TRL 4 or to the maximum of 5 as of now, but they are all like trying to reach to 7 and 8.
Okay. So you as okay, you are in different levels. Okay, so we just first of all let these things may be very familiar to you. So why just to brush up, so why translation matters? So if you see the left side of the slide, that is the academic dimension, which you all are already in. So as a researcher myself, years like 2-3 years back, so we were in the constant thing of running rigorous experiments, compile our data, validate, and we were very much into publishing into high research journals, high impact journals. And our career advancement, we see it as cited, like when it gets cited more. So now the question is, so this was our idea earlier of an impact. Now this so it should change from this. So we have to think in a societal dimension, which we are now, and all the projects now, whatever fundings we are getting in that aspect only. So societal dimension in the sense to cure a disease, to have a clean water, to have power efficiently efficiently in the industry, and to create new jobs, new enterprise. So in this dimension we have started thinking, and we are in the right path now. So the central question is, how do we ensure that our research doesn't stop with this? How we can take it to the real world application, real world impact in the society? So okay, so then comes the this word may be familiar to you, the valley of death. So when we say in innovation management, innovation point, so this translation from the protected IP to commercialization, it's not a smooth path. So as researchers, you as already in projects, you might have faced many of these problems, such as the funding squeeze, which I say, that is, you have a breakthrough concept, but the academic fund runs out. You might have faced this problem in real scenario. Academic fund just runs out before your prototype is actually made. So before it is actually means developed. So you may find this particular problem. You may find this barrier, the lack of funding, and the funding getting exhausted at a crucial period or crucial time of your research. And another point which I used to call solution in search of a problem. So you might have a brilliant idea, but sometimes don't have clarity which industry it actually fits in. So you have a solution, but you actually don't know how this is going to work in which part, which industry. And another one barrier is the scaling hurdle. So which is very common. So we as researchers, we have a working lab prototype which works very well in the lab condition, but it fails when we try to manufacture it at a larger scale, at an industrial level. So these are the common hurdles which many of you might have faced in any point of your time. And this particular phase is called as the valley of death in the innovation language. So these three phases, these three barriers have to be crossed in order to take your product or take your innovation to the next level, that is the commercialization level. And always think that this is not just a single leap. You have to go step by step. You have to have faith, and you have to have a particular I mean to say a way that you can cross this valley of death, or which we can say these barriers. So how we can go? So this research to impact journey. So in this map, you might see there are four different levels, four different steps. So many of you might have crossed all I mean one or two steps already. So you might have already have a technology, you have applied for a patent, you have filed provisional applications, or you might already have granted patent in your hand. And also you might have done the benchtop validation. So this to prove the feasibility and reproducibility of your research, of your technology, or of your invention per se. And now next is the coming to the industry, the pilot level. So industry want this prototype which you have developed should work in the real world condition. So so the industry, as you already have a partner, you just need to if my guess is right, many of you might be sitting in intersection of this the second and third point, that is the benchtop. You have already a validated prototype in your hand, and the industry doesn't have this you are facing a barrier to scale it up, or scale it up into an industrial level, to making it industry ready. And next is final stages, as you know, launch. How that we will come in the subsequent slide about licensing and creating spin-offs and all. So these four things are these four stages are very important in the journey from a research till you come to the market, you make an impact. So just think of your current project, what is timeline where you actually sit, whether it is at the prototype stage or whether it is at the industry stage. So there should be a very smooth or a very clear conversation between the industry partner and you, how you can navigate these levels. So that so when you think on that point, this will help you to dictate your next move, that is next what you have to do to get on to the final stage of commercialization, getting into getting through these barriers, and then launching your product. So the technology transfer ecosystem. So this ecosystem is a combination of three pillars, as I have noted here: the academia, the industry, and the facilitators. So academia, you are already there. You are doing the breakthrough research, and you have the deep technical expertise, and you have the lab thing ready with you. And the industry's role is as already mentioned, it's a manufacturing. They help in manufacturing, they give a regulatory expertise, and they have the real access to the customers, the potential customers. So, and also the facilitators, for example, the Tamil Nadu Research Foundation Park, which facilitates you in co-funding, in providing funds, providing incubation space, the legal support, and also introducing to the industry. So these three factors, these three pillars will form the technology transfer ecosystem. As you already are there in these, so I don't need to explain it more. So it's not a single person's effort, a solo effort. So it's an team effort, as you can see, and these are the team players: the academy, industry, and the funding agency. So many of the researchers have get it wrong. They try to walk, they try to take a giant leap just without consulting, or without consulting the right person, without consulting the right industry. They go for trying to take their product to the market. So that should not be done. So they have to go through these see these industry as well as the facilitators. All they have to find these places, and they have to try to fit their research, try to contact them, so that it can be taken to the next level without any hindrance and without much difficulty. So take the proper help when and where it is needed. Now, so as researchers, we have this, we don't know the industry language. So industry language always speak on, whether you're on the common term we use as the technology readiness level. So it is a scale from 1 to 9. So what this scale actually tells, it is the readiness of your technology. Industry always needs a technology which is at a technology readiness level 5 to 6. So they always see whether your technology is at this level. Only they can only at that point they can take up. And usually what happens, academic research, they are at the basic level, the TRL 1 to 3. And so as you already have a research, industry partner with you, so now the need is you just have to sit, have a conversation, and try to understand what is my TRL level now, and how I can take it to the next level. So there is a gap, and this is known as the translational gap. And the Tamil Nadu, like the incubation centers and the funding agencies, all will help you in pushing. And also the technology transfer professional, if you discuss, they will help you in pushing this your technology from TRL 1 to 3 to TRL 5 or 6 to the next level. So they help you to go through this gap. So many times, many of the research projects which I have seen, they the projects will be in the TRL 1 or 2 level, and the investigators who doesn't have much knowledge on the technology readiness level, the level which the industry actually wants, they think they are in the TRL 5 level, and this is ready to go to the market, the prototype they have developed. But this is not the actual case. The industry may be thinking sometimes this is something at the TRL 1 or 3 level. So there should be an actual conversation with which the industry partner, and you should ask them, see, this is the level which I have created, and you should tell me at what level I have to work to make it to TRL 5. So that conversation should happen in order to overcome this translational gap. So there comes the role of this TTO and the technology transfer professionals, who innovation managers, who will help you to take your technology from TRL 3 to TRL 5. They will give the right advice so that your technology becomes market ready. Okay, so we cannot actually avoid intellectual property as such. So intellectual property is can be seen as a strategic asset. So so it act as a defensive mode. See, if when there is no patent, you might know, when your technology, if it is very well so even if a very well resourced company, they can manufacture they can manufacture this your technology in a cheaper rate if you don't have a patent. for your technology. So acquiring patent is very important. And there are also not only patent, there are also other kinds of IP you can think of, the keeping it as a trade secret, or other, for example, in case of algorithms, you cannot patent that as such. So you can have a copyright issued for that. So you have to be in the sense, patent is very much essential. And also intellectual property will it act as a value driver, that is a help in uh, that is act as a currency for fundraising. So investors will price your startup based upon the strength of the IP, how much IP you have, how uh, whether it is granted, whether it is on a core technology, whether it could make impact. It depends upon the strength of the IP. And if you have IP protected in the core technology, you can be in a very good position to negotiate in future with the companies who want to acquire it or who want to license it and all. So it also act as a licensing currency, if we say. And if there is no patent, the companies and the investors will be hesitant to take your technology or take fund your technology and all. So it act as a good it let you to collect the royalties without having to build a manufacturing company of your own. So this thing you might already know, that is you need to patent before you go for a publication. I won't take this in depth. So always patent first, then go for publication. Now coming to structuring the partnership. So what collaboration models and IP ownership you can think of? As you as principal investigators, you already have an industry partner. So you will be I think you will be in the joint industry projects, right? Already there. So the TNRFP University Research Grant Scheme, which is funding your projects, it is supported, and the industry will has its own support. For example, this some figures I have quoted here. So in joint industry projects, the risk is shared between the industry as well as the academia. So how the IP will be jointly owned. And when this happens, it should be governed by joint development agreements. So we will be discussing more on these agreements in the coming slides. And there are other type of collaboration, that is the sponsored contract research. So in this kind of contracts, company funds the 100% of the project and solves a specific, so they will be more interested in solving a specific internal problem, internal risk. Oh, and the sponsors, and in this case, the sponsors will have the right over the any IP created rather than the researchers or the PIs who are working. And also in that contract, you should negotiate in the sense, always try to reserve your right to publish the fundamental science. Okay, so these are two types of collaborative projects basically, which the industry and the university can go with. And now we will focus on the joint development agreements, which is the legal backbone of any agreements. So a verbal understanding between, or a handshake agreement, is not the strategy. So before the project begins, there should be some kind of agreement between the industry partner and the PI. And it should be in a written form, and it should be signed and executed before the collaborative work happens. So I'm sure most of you might have these agreements. Take it as a checklist, the 6 points which I have quoted here, and see whether you have these clauses in the agreements you have with your industry partner. First of all, first is the background or foreground IP. What does that mean? So your agreement should have, first of all, what we say, the industry or the researchers or the PI, they which is involved in project, they already have some IP, already working on some projects. For example, if I say AI algorithm, a novel AI algorithm developed by the university, the researchers, and a sensor device which is being developed by the industry. So they want to have a collaboration. So they have already patented this, not patented, they have this IP registered for the university have its own IP and the industry has its own IP. Now they collaborate to form a monitoring device with this AI as well as the technology they have. The industry have this technology. So whatever they own before the collaboration is the background IP, and when they collaborate and form a new device or they develop a new technology, and the IP associated with it will be the foreground IP, to make it clear. So these agreements should have clear understanding of what are IPs they already have and what are IP they are going to create. How will be the ownership of those IP, whether you will be sharing the background IP as a whole or only parts of it. So these understanding should be made before you go about with the collaborative assignment. And next clause that is very mandatory, the field of use and territory. So define exactly which application areas and geography you will they will be collaborating. So your collaborators will occupy which all geographies, and which all license, so how all they can license and license covers. Excuse me, I am audible, right?
Yes, ma'am. Audible, ma'am.
Yes. Okay. So, and the third one is the inventorship contribution. So fix the inventorship contribution way before when you go for a joint development agreement. So you might know the Section 6 of Indian Patents Act clearly defines who can be the inventor. So any dispute arises because of the inventorship can be avoided when you clearly define the inventorship in these agreements. And next, the publication, the fourth clause you should incorporate is the publication carve out. So it reserves the researchers the right to publish. So forehand have a agreement that the core foundational science can be patented or published. So that it should not make any problem afterwards. So subject to and this should be subject to a defined confidentiality window. And next is the prosecution responsibility and cost. So forehand you must have an idea who will who will file, who will take the prosecution cost, who will bear those costs, and before the IPO, and also the renewal fees whenever appropriate. So these things should be clear in the agreement forehand. And again, the confidentiality and data protection. So apart from the data which is disclosed in the patent invention disclosure, there will be some other know-how, some other confidential information, and that has to be legally represented in the joint development agreement, that it bind both the parties on the shared know-how, the materials, data, how it can be licensed or some given to the public. So that agreement should also be, internal agreement should also be there, and that clauses should also be incorporated in the joint development agreement. So these agreements should be signed, as I told, before you take up this collaborative work. So just make think this as a checklist, and you can verify whether these clauses has been already added in my research, or I mean with my collaborator, so that you can be okay. So okay, then next is managing the shared commercialization right. So by default, when you apply for a patent, the industry and the academia and industry, they both can be co-applicants, right? So the Patent Act, the section 50 explicitly said that the rights of the co-inventors. So if there is no clause regarding the ownership of the invention or inventorship, the default will work. That is, both the applicants will have the equal rights in the patent, in the technology. So each co-owner may work the invention by his own and can have the profit of its own without the consent, or without so it is not necessary he should consent the other person to utilize the patent. So in order to avoid that, there should be some arrangement to override these default settlement that may happen when you own a patent, when there is a co-applicant in your patent. But there is another thing: they cannot license or assign the right without the consent of the other co-owner, but they can utilize to the fullest extent and benefit out of the patent or the technology. So for that, in order to ensure that such things don't happen, these clauses, these 5 clauses which I have mentioned, should be there in your joint development agreement. First of all, the exclusivity mandate. So designate one party, that is usually the industry will be taking up the commercialization party. So it should be clearly defined in the clause. So this is the party who is going to commercialize, and upon the pre-agreed terms. And it can be negotiated on case-to-case basis. Next is the revenue and royalty split, which is very important. So fix the formula of the royalty sharing upfront. Upfront in the sense, there are many ways to collect royalties that we will discuss next coming slide. That is upfront fee, milestone fee, free, and running royalty. So allocation of these royalty to the co-owners, that should be defined earlier before going for any license, how the royalty should be shared. And next is the diligence or margin rights. Okay, so set a commercialization timeline. So if one party doesn't act on that timeline, so how the ownership rights, the ownership, so this ownership right will define how the other person can take action. So I mean the licensing right may revert to the other person, the other party. So have this clause in the joint development agreement. And also next is the deadlock resolution. So mediation, arbitration clauses should be there. So even if because of some disputes or some between the co-owners, the entire assets should not be stalled indefinitely. So there should be some way to get through out of the dispute. So have that in the agreement. And exit and burnout mechanism. So pre-agreed valuation method from one party to buy out the other share if collaboration ends. So have such mechanism in the agreement itself. So this will help in the smooth running of your technology, taking your technology to the commercialization path. So there are different commercialization pathway, and most common commercialization pathway is the technology licensing. So 60% of the technology coming to market is through licensing, that is out licensing. So the collaborators, I mean the technology owners, they will see whether the industry partner is capable of commercializing their product. So most probably the licensing will happen to those who are already there in the market. So it will be easy for the technology to come to the market, because if it matches with the already established product line, it will be easy to launch. So most of the academic researchers, it's better to go for a licensing. And if some technology, some breakthrough technology, which is a platform technology, which can which can have multiple product lines, then at that time some of may go for a startup, like spin-off ventures, so that in the next coming 10 to 20 the coming years, they can build on the from this platform technology, they can diverse to different products. So at that time, go for a deep tech startups, and then joint ventures like you already have. So there is, when we go for a joint venture, there is the licensing, I mean the risk is with both the party. So they both find the risk sharing thing happens with both of the party, and they can take it to to the new avenues or new platforms together. So these are the common commercialization pathways which we have. Now coming to licensing the research outcome. So first, how to go about. So you might be very familiar with, there are two type of licenses, exclusive license and non-exclusive license. So as the name indicates, exclusive license, only one partner will be there for sharing the technology. So this happens essentially in the pharma and biotech sectors, because they are so they always wants an exclusivity in the market, because lots in the case of pharma and biotech, the inventions, they need to go with rigorous clinical trials, so the cost involved is very high. So they always prefer for market exclusivity. And non-exclusive license, as the name indicates, it can have as many of license. So this happens to the platform technologies, software tools, which has broader applicability, and it can have multiple simultaneous adopters, so that they themselves can independently take up the technology and develop on their own. So now how to get money out of this structure, so how to get paid. So there what should be the deal. So there are different mechanisms, or we can say different ways to get paid from these technologies. First of all, the thing is upfront fee. So upfront fee is which covers, so we can go for an upfront fee for covering the cost of which is already there, done, like for patenting you might have spent a lot of money, and then the renewals, all those things. So you can ask for an upfront amount. And then the milestone payments. So this is triggered when certain milestones are achieved. So suppose a clinical trial has been completed, so a manufacturing target, a first bunch of goods have been manufactured. In that way, at each milestone, you can have a charge. And next is the running royalty. So it depends on the percentage of net sales, and it is an ongoing royalty model. So, so it is up to you how you can decide. Getting a strong upfront fee sometimes you may feel nice because you have already spent lots of amount for that, developing the technology and patenting and all. But in the long run, uh, running royalty model is always better, because you are already so this is the royalty never stops, like percentage of the net sales. As I already mentioned, it's an ongoing process. So it is up to you which type of mechanism, which type of model best fits for your innovation, your technology. And next is one is licensing, and as I told, another one is spin-offs. You can go for spin-offs. Spin-offs in the sense, the founder model. So a senior faculty which remains in the university can be a scientific advisor, and also the PhD students and postdocs who are there in the lab, they can run the business full time. But in this model, it requires a lot of commitment if you want to start a spin-off startup for that technology. And you should have some entrepreneurship, that resilience to take this from this lab to, and to sustain various barrier. It needs a lot. So a foundational model, you opt when you have some platform technology, and as I have already told, you can expand your product line in the coming future. So the founders, where they need an incubation space and support, and also mentorship from experienced operators. So as your research park is one such space which provides entrepreneurs these facilities to have a startup and spin-off. And now let me take you some of the success stories which you might already know in India and around the world. One of the success story which I want to mention here is from Shanta Biotechnics. So they made India's first recombinant DNA for hepatitis B vaccine out of the recombinant DNA technology. And earlier in 1990s, it was there was no such technology, and we were the US. They were charging an exorbitant prices for such vaccine. But this particular I mean, the company has taken up this pain and has developed. So the developed this first recombinant vaccine, and the prices they brought down from $15 US dollars to $1 per dose. So thereby creating an impact in the society. It helped many children, right? So this kind of it is not that only one, I mean, the dosage, it is not developing just a dosage. So this particular company has to go through all the other, like, regulatory hurdles, and so all these barriers they have gone through, and they have successfully brought this vaccine. So it's, so you can take your you can think in this line. So it's not very easy to be successful, right? So all these so this particular what I want to say is, this particular company has gone through all these stages to being the stage what it has. And again, one other example which I want to take is small biodiagnostic, which were they made portable that is TrueNAT devices, which is used for diagnosing the TB at a point of care. They made that possible. The primary testing, which was not possible earlier. So they brought this particular device, which was very life changing. So this is how the inventions and technology, they actually creating the real world benefit. And the Google Stanford, you might already know, the Page and Brain, they have patented their research algorithm through the Stanford University, and Stanford University have licensed uh, licensed it, and later they came to form this Google company now. And this Stanford University is getting a huge amount of funds on that licensing process because on base of royalty. So such is the impact which is means which has brought from a laboratory or a simple academic research then to a real world situation. So what can be the practical roadmap for the investigators? I want to conclude in that. So get the TRL level conversation to your calendar, which means you already have a partner. So you need to talk about the TRL. Do you think we are at what TRL level, and what may help us to move from this TRL level to the greater TRL level, that is TRL 5 or 6. So what should be done? That talk you have to, that conversation you have to bring with your industry and then work on it. And when and pull out your JDA, that is your agreement, the joint development agreement, and check it as a checklist, and have specifically this publication clause and margin right in that. And if these are missing, raise amendments for these amendments in the sense which you already have such agreement, propose for amendments, and make sure these things are included. But on the whole, it all depends on how you want to take it up. What are the most important points you consider at present moment and also in the future moment? All those things have to be considered while developing or while amending already the agreement which you have signed with the company partner. And also have a clear writing on the royalty structure before you go for a deep pilot experiments. So with this, I just want to conclude what are the key takeaways from my presentation. So the patent you got to the table, it does not run negotiation for you. You have to take your chance and you have to negotiate in different levels. And now exactly what kind of collaboration you are in. So the joint project versus sponsored research, who the changes, who owns it, what the IP, the ownership, everything should be clear in your collaboration. And also check the joint development agreements, whether these two are there or not, and move accordingly. And also don't let the upfront fee to be the whole negotiation. The royalty should have is where the real value just sits. So have the royalties how it should be. First of all, define based upon what is the actual requirement. You should plan your royalties. And I just want to conclude with this, that is deliver, not just discover. You have already done your hard scientific work. Now structure around it, and so that you can take it to the commercial level, and and finally make an impact in the society. Okay, so with that, I just want to conclude. So